From the Charleston Heights Art Center, hello everybody and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne. This center underwent some renovations recently. Now, nothing that's really you can see from the naked eye, but a lot of structural changes. However, there is a new exhibit here in their gallery, and we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. But first, you may not have heard, but Las Vegas has a new soccer team. Las Vegas Lights began their preseason games on February 10th. If you didn't make it out to Cashman Field, you might have seen that game right here on Channel 2. But before they could start playing, well, they needed uniforms, and let's just say that the ceremony revealing those uniforms was revealing. What better place to celebrate the reveal of the Las Vegas Lights uniform than under the famous lights of the Plaza Hotel and Casino? Jonathan Jossel headed up the ceremony by making a special announcement about the unique partnership between the Plaza and our new soccer team.
So I'm honored to announce that the Plaza Hotel and Casino will be the exclusive hotel sponsor and official after-party destination for the Las Vegas Lights.
He was followed by Brett Lashbrook, owner of the team, who had an announcement of his own, one that could really only happen in Vegas.
Every time the Lights win at Cashman Field, not just win, but they win, we win, with 3 or more goals scored by our team. If we win and we score 3 or more goals, we're committed to paying each player on the field $100 in poker chips from the Plaza Hotel. This is a commitment to win and to win with style.
With the strong tie to the Plaza, it was only fitting the Plaza logo appear somewhere on the uniform. So, wasting very little time, he called our mayor up to the microphone to announce the reveal. And by reveal, well, you'll see.
You're looking at these guys and you're thinking, why are they in their robes, right? Yeah. Well, gentlemen. Wow, these are, hey, not bad. Look at these shorts.
Yes, it was probably incumbent upon the mayor to remind people to look at the shorts and the Plaza logo that graces them. Could there be a more Las Vegas photo op? Gorgeous showgirls, athletic soccer players under the lights of an iconic casino. It was the perfect photo and perfect way to end part 1 of the Las Vegas Lights uniform reveal.
Las Vegas!
Part 2 happened the following evening at Zappos in true Zappos and Lights energy.
I got to take a sneak peek, and I gotta tell you, you guys are gonna like these jerseys a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, soccer fans of all ages!
Make some noise, Las Vegas! The reason why we're getting a soccer team!
Brett Lashbrook expressed his own surprise at how quickly the idea for a soccer team turned into a soccer team. 180 days to be exact.
And over that 180 days, all of you helped name us. You helped design our logo. You helped support us on the youth fields. You helped support us in the bars. You helped us support us on social media. You helped support us through tickets, through sponsorships, through bringing the community together.
Our mayor was here for this ceremony as well. I mean, she did want to see what the entire uniform was going to look like. She explained the reason this came together so quickly.
We are one team together. Every single one of you is so important to the success of everything we start. You are so right. Let's get this show going and let's get this team moving forward. Yes, for the Lights.
Just as the Plaza and Zappos are supporters of the team, so is Findlay Toyota. So it was only fitting John Barr was present as well.
I know I will be at every game, that is for sure. I know that for a fact. I hope you will be. You will? Well, make sure you come up and say hello. I mean that, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Also on hand, Lauren Becker with Zappos, who expressed the company's strong commitment to the team and our city.
Obviously, Zappos has made a big commitment to Las Vegas over the years. In moving downtown, we made even a bigger commitment to our core and coming down here and being part of Las Vegas and part of the community. And I couldn't think of a better way to kind of put the icing on the cake and support a professional sports team in downtown Las Vegas.
And finally, it was time to reveal the entire uniform.
We wanted something unique. We wanted something different. We wanted something to represent us. We found our apparel supplier in a company called BLK. We went around the world looking for someone who could do for the kinds of things that we were looking to do. And in that first meeting, I found out what BLK stands for. Beyond Limits Known. And I knew we had our guys. We had our guys.
A video was played, and at the end, the uniform, jersey, and all. The team took to the stage and demonstrated how when a goal is scored, their shirts will go up to reveal a smiley face. Those who attended the ceremony say they are excited about the look and about the Las Vegas lights overall.
I don't know, it's just something about soccer that's just amazing, like the energy, people are always so excited, and there's just something amazing about soccer.
I've been to multiple MLS, USA soccer games. It's awesome. There's no energy like it. No other sport can compare to it. We're ready for it.
Or to sum it up more succinctly,
go Vegas Lights, baby, go!
there are more than 20 home matches running through October. If you'd like more information on the games, anything about the team, or about tickets, you can go to lightsfc.com. Well, when you think of February and hearts, you probably think of Valentine's Day and what kind of great gifts you can get for people you love. Well, one of the greatest gifts you can give to your loved ones is having a healthy heart yourself. So we thought we would take a moment to celebrate February being Heart Health Month, give you some tips on staying healthy, and dispelling some myths about heart disease.
It's like you're having a heart attack, okay?
This is not a scene anyone wants to be part of, being rushed to the hospital due to a heart attack. But it plays out all too often. Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women in our country. Each year, 1 in 3 Americans die of heart disease. And one of the biggest misconceptions about this killer is that it mostly affects men.
When actually it's the #1 killer of women, and I think a lot of that is because we are so unaware of it.
Rebecca Suretsky is a wellness coach with the City of Las Vegas and says women in general need to become more aware of heart health, particularly when they hit midlife.
And I think it's important for women to realize as they age, those risk factors actually do go up. Unfortunately, as women age, their estrogen levels go down. And estrogen plays a role in keeping the artery walls nice and soft and pliable, which keeps the heart and everything healthier. It keeps the blood can go through a lot easier. Unfortunately, as we get older, the estrogen decreases and those artery walls tend to stiffen a little bit.
Meet Becky Carney. She's a member of the North Carolina General Assembly, representing the Charlotte area. She's a prime example of someone seemingly in perfect health. Yet 10 years ago, her life took a very unexpected and frightening turn.
She was gathering papers to get into her car to drive back to Charlotte from Raleigh, and her assistant heard her sneeze twice, and then it was quiet, and came down to find her, walked into her office next door and found her face down on her desk. Complete, sudden cardiac arrest. No warning signs, nothing.
Kevin Gillette works in the Economic and Urban Development Department here in the City of Las Vegas, and Becky Carney is his mother. He says she was rushed to the hospital where a device was implanted that is a combination pacemaker and defibrillator, which worked fine for a while.
Fast forward to about 2.5 years ago, she was out here for my wedding and experienced some dizziness, some different things happening, and actually they took her here to Sunrise Hospital, where they determined that there was more to what's going on than just the defib pacemaker could take care of. They installed this thing what's called an LVAD, so half of her heart is battery operated.
Kevin says it might have been his mother who suffered from the heart attack, but it was a wake-up call for him and the rest of his family.
Well, it made me more aware that I can't act like I'm 18 and eat what I want and sit around and not get off the couch. I made an effort to really just change little things about my diet, reducing sodium, trying to be aware of what sodium content is in everything that I buy. I probably read more labels than most guys do in the grocery store, but I make it a point to really cut back on the sodium, and even basic exercise. Walking the dog, I've since, joined a gym, try to lose weight.
Losing weight and exercising are key to improving your heart health, even if your job has you sitting at your desk for most of the day. Get up and move around. Stretch. You don't have to run a marathon, just get your heart rate up a little. Here are some other things you can do to prevent heart disease.
First of all, if you smoke, definitely quit. That's a big one. You want your weight to be in a healthy range. You want to make sure that you're exercising at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week, And then in addition to just a very active lifestyle. Can't be sedentary the other, 23 hours and 30 minutes of the day. You want to make sure that you're eating a healthy diet filled with fruits and vegetables and lean proteins and trying to avoid all that processed food.
Those are areas where you can take care of yourself, but you can also educate yourself on how to save others through learning CPR and understanding how to use an AED. Kevin says if you don't think that's important, think again.
One of the amazing things is part of her freshman class, this was her second year of her first term, one of the fellow members was a doctor and realized they did not have AEDs in public buildings. And she was a co-sponsor on the bill. And the first time one had been used in the General Assembly was to save her life.
By the way, here's something else to keep in mind when it comes to heart attacks. The symptoms in men differ from the symptoms in women. For men, it's usually chest pain. Now, for women, it can be chest pain, but it can also be a feeling of indigestion or acid reflux, sudden sweating, anxiety, a shortness of breath. Now, if you have just one of those symptoms, you're probably fine, but a combination and something that you don't have a history of, well, then you might want to check with your doctor. By the way, Kevin's mother is doing fine. She continues to serve in the North Carolina General Assembly, and we want to thank Kevin for sharing his story. Well, we know one way to keep your heart healthy is to avoid stress, something that is becoming increasingly difficult on some of the roads around Las Vegas. We talk a lot about Project Neon, but now we're going to talk about a fairly new project taking place up in the Northwest. Talk about wanting to get started. Before the official groundbreaking ceremony began, the real groundbreaking was underway. This is the start of the US 95 Northwest Corridor Improvement Project. And while it might not look beautiful now, this is what it will look like in just over a year from now. Extra lanes, HOV access ramps, new landscaping and lighting, as well as landscape art will grace this corridor from around Durango Drive to Kyle Canyon. Since the area affects Nevada, Clark County, and the city of Las Vegas, representatives from all of those areas joined the Nevada Department of Transportation for the ceremony. Our own councilwoman, Michelle Fiore, says working together is what gets things done.
The city joins NDOT's efforts not to play catch-up with growth, but to be responsive and proactive to development we see coming down the line. This is what we are doing here, and I'm thrilled to be part of this project that will benefit everyone in the Las Vegas Valley.
In a unique ceremonial gesture, a hawk was released and returned. Since this is such a beautiful open land area, the theme in the art will focus on wildlife, like this sign that officials put their names on to mark the start of the project. You'll also notice a mammoth theme. It was in 2015 that part of a mammoth tusk was uncovered in this very area. The $78 million project will be funded in part by the fuel revenue indexing money that voters chose to extend for another 10 years back in 2016. While about 53,000 vehicles pass through this corridor today, that number is expected to double in the next 10 years as our city continues to grow. Now, that project is expected to be completed by the fall of 2019. And as always, NDOT and community leaders ask that you pack your patience and please look out for the safety of the men and women working out there on our roadways. For more information on that project and all the projects around the city, you can go to nevadadot.com. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, if you're a foodie that loves breakfast, you'll want to see the next segment, Cooking with Fire. Congratulations to our City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Larry Papps. Larry, a concrete mason, was leading a small crew performing maintenance near Alexander Road and Tenaya Way when an elderly woman drove up to them in her car. She was disoriented. She told them she was lost and could not remember how to get home. Larry began calming her down and working to get some information that could help her get home. He learned that her husband worked at a strip casino, so he called the property, eventually made contact, and explained the situation. Larry also took the extra step of waiting with her until her husband arrived to take her home. Because of Larry's assistance and compassion, a dangerous and fearful situation was resolved safely. Thank you, Larry Papps, for showing our residents the City of Las Vegas cares.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Welcome back to City Beat from Charleston Heights Art Center, where there is a brand new art exhibit on display, which we're going to talk about just a little bit later on. But first, I personally like just about all food, but some people can pretty much live on breakfast alone, whether that be omelets, bagels, or an all-time favorite, pancakes. As we continue our series, Cooking with Fire, we travel up to Station 44 of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue as they whip up some banana walnut pancakes with all the trimmings.
Whatever you like.
Good morning from Station 44. This is Captain Tony Rizzo. I'm serving up this morning my famous banana walnut nutmeg pancakes with a little chorizo potatoes and scrambled eggs and vegetables. Start with the stuff that takes the longest to cook, which is the potatoes. So we usually parboil those, and then this morning we went a little something extra with some real chorizo. And that's part of cooking. That's just morning. Waking everybody up this morning. And so before I do the pancakes, I'm gonna do butter walnut pancakes, an alternative to the syrup. Taking some vanilla Greek yogurt, and once again, I try and be. Not all yogurts created equal. You look at some of the yogurts, the sugars are really, really high. So that's one of the things we've been trying to do is cut down on the amount of the corn syrups, the fake sugars, and trying to get the real stuff in there. And then I'm gonna add a couple of bananas. I'm cheating a little bit to get a little sweetness in it, some honey. I'm gonna throw a little cinnamon in it. I wish I could tell you how many tablespoons or whatever, but I'm Italian. Growing up, my mom wasn't a morning person, so I'm a kid of the 60s, so it was orange drink tang, and the only time you had breakfast like this is when we would go to the International House of Pancakes, which, you know, that's going to a restaurant, and that was a big deal. I always wanted that at home, and my mom wasn't the one that was gonna, you know, she wasn't a breakfast person. So literally they had a school fair, the book fairs, and they had a cookbook, a Charlie Brown Peanuts cookbook. And in it there was Frida's French toast. And it had the recipe to make French toast. I got the book and I learned how to make French toast, and then it had a bunch of other little recipes in it. Mash these up. These are a little bit not as ripe as I'd like them. I don't measure as much. I go by, you know, texture, look. The clumps in the batter are actually the bananas. I'll put a little bit of vanilla in here, a couple tablespoons. Wait for them to start to bubble up on this side. When you're cooking with certain spices, cinnamon's one. You gotta be really careful when you add them to the pancake. The cinnamon will burn. All hands, Station 44, chow. Chow in the kitchen as opposed to in the bay. Come get it. Cook your eggs. I've been with this crew for 14 years. So this isn't just breakfast. This is family sitting down. We talk politics, we talk religion, we talk the state of affairs, how we're gonna fix every problem in the world has been fixed a half a dozen times. So, hey, Washington, if you need help, we're here for you. There's a bond here. You form your bond here.
If you'd like that recipe, go to KCLV.tv. Thank you, Sue Levitt and Eric Sorensen, for that segment. I'd like to take a moment to remind you about another segment. We here at KCLV TV have produced a half-hour special called The Opioid Crisis, The Pain Behind the Addiction. Now, I was joined by producers Melissa Duran and Sue Levitt to talk about the crisis, prevention, recovery programs, how the city is stepping up to help people through the recovery journey. I'd like to give you an excerpt right now from Melissa Duran's story that sort of gives an overview of this burning issue.
Like a warm, cozy blanket wrapped up, and you're safe and secure, and you feel like you're floating on air, and you can control the world. That's how you feel. Well, for me, and that's my experience, that's how I felt.
Danny refuses to sugarcoat anything when it comes to opioid addiction.
At 19 is when I first tried opiates, and it made me feel like I was on top of the world, and I knew right then and there that was like my best friend.
But that best friend quickly turned on her. What started out as a little bit of recreational use turned into much, much more.
At first, it was just on the weekends. I promised myself that I would only do it on the weekends, and then it became an every other day thing, and then it became just an everyday thing.
And getting her fix became increasingly difficult, putting her in situations she'd never thought she'd be in.
Probably sleeping with people that I didn't want to. Completely lowering my standards and dancing, and that's my truth though, because that's where it goes.
Even losing custody of her 2 children.
Honestly, I couldn't take care of them, and I knew family members that could. So that was when I decided that that was the best choice for them.
Danny's life today looks much different. She's been clean for more than 3 years, has found a strong support system in girlfriend Irma, and has rebuilt a relationship with her family. But Danny says she's just the tip of the iceberg. According to the Centers for Disease Control, opioids killed more than 42,000 people in 2016, more than any year on record. 40% of all opioid overdose deaths involved a prescription. In Nevada, opioid overdose deaths have steadily increased. In 2014, there were 545 overdose deaths. 2015 had 619 deaths, and 2016 had 665 overdose deaths. But let's break that down even more. Here in Clark County, we've actually seen some small improvements. In 2011, we had 334 opioid-related overdoses. 5 years later, in 2016, that number was at 286.
87% of the fatal overdoses are attributed to opioid prescriptions, about 11% to heroin, and 7% to fentanyl.
Dr. Michael Johnson, Director of Community Health for the Southern Nevada Health District, is one of many trying to figure out the best way to get a handle on this scary epidemic.
I think people think because a doctor prescribed a particular pain medication, it's okay to continue this indefinitely, and that's just not the case.
For future dates and times of the opioid crisis, the pain behind the addiction, you can go to KCLV.tv. Well, as promised, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at this art exhibit here at Charleston Heights Art Center and find out about the special artists. You'll see their work hanging on the walls.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. This cat makes me make art. He's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, It's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Papa!
Welcome back to City Beat from the Charleston Heights Arts Center, and I am joined now by Jeannie Voltura. She is with our Cultural Affairs Department and is in charge of all of the great exhibits that you see all over the city. And there's a new exhibit to go along with the new renovations here. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Yes, this is a Celebrating Life Masters exhibit, and it is up through April 25th, and it has 3 different artists work here, Rainer Bertram's, Yaffa Carey, and Via Hamilton, and they all do artwork that has different mediums involved, and they're part of they've actually won up to 3 awards in the Celebrating Life juried show for people 50 and better. And so that's why they're in here. We highlight them before that exhibit.
And I know a lot of times when you do exhibits, they have a theme like Year of the Monkey, or at City Hall right now is the refuse to reuse.
That's right.
This you tried to keep sort of in a theme, but the main theme is that they've won awards in the past.
Right. I'm not doing it by how many awards somebody has won, but I'm doing it by how well their work will go together. So the work that they've all done has some sort of link to the element of texture. So they've used a pattern or texture somehow in the work, like the ceramics definitely has that, and then that kind of ties into the woodcut oriented work, and then Via Hamilton has also just like repeated patterns with the leaves and the flowers and stuff like that.
And a little bit of a sense of humor?
Yeah, she has a sense of humor. There's one called It's the Pits, and it references life in general, but there's little fruit pits that are on there.
Wonderful. Well, it's all great to see, and there's a lot of talent, 50 or better. And again, as Jeannie said, this will be here through April 25th, so come on out to Charleston Heights, which is located 800 Southwest Street. Thank you, Jeannie, for joining us and for everything you do to keep art in the eyes of everyone in the city.
Thanks so much. Everybody's welcome.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for joining us. And as we go to close, we're going to go to the Generation to Generation softball game, which was played February 3rd at the ball field right next to Doolittle Senior Center.